This woman turned out to be the very successful owner and president of a real estate firm. She's also a loyal Oldsmobile 88 owner, but she asked if we were going to have anything with a little more oomph than 66, but not for too much more money. Well, from the moment she saw the car and that terrific interior with a contoured strato seat, I knew Oldsmobile's marketing decision to create this new Starfire was right. They realized the public wants a big, bold, exciting car just above the 88 price, and this is the car to get the sales. Starfire. Pizzazz, power, and price. Professor, this new Starfire got big yes votes from test buyers who now have Grand Prix, Chrysler 300s, Buick Wildcats and Super Sports, and Galaxy XLs. No question about it. Once these owners realized the new price position of this great Starfire, they were interested. Well, Professor, these reports will give you a small idea of how I spent my 2 days at the proving grounds. I saw so many buyers and exposed so many 1966 Olds features, I began to feel like Charlie Chaplin in one of those old-time movies. Of course, I showed off the roomy forward-facing third seat. Incidentally, despite all the rear-facing and side-facing seats, people definitely still prefer to see where they're going instead of where they've been. And I found out we have a lot of details that score big, too. Like the great new Comfortron air conditioning in the full-size models that maintains the temperature you dial and dehumidifies, too, automatically, winter or summer. And the new reclining option on the passenger side strato seat. That 30-degree tilt plus the separate headrest will make long-distance trips a real pleasure. We've got another beauty in this new Cutlass Supreme. The styling seems to really appeal to the women. Their minds are made up completely when I point out the optional vinyl roof is just like the 98 luxury sedan. And the vinyl is an exclusive distinction for this one model in the Cutlass line. The Supreme is a real out-front car at a swinging price. Professor, I never before talked to so many people in so short a time, and it suddenly hit me. An awful lot of them had the same wrong idea about Oldsmobile. Remember what the young married gal said?
With our income, we've got to be satisfied with a Ford or Chevrolet.
I'll bet I heard that 100 times, and not just from kids on a budget either. Why, I had Impala owners tell me they weren't in the Oldsmobile class. And even one fellow who drove up in a Ford LTD couldn't understand why he'd been invited to an Oldsmobile test. The way I see it now, a lot of people who should be buying Oldsmobiles still think about the automobile business the way it was 10 years ago. Like this, with 3 neat price levels, and each manufacturer pigeonholed in his own category. Sure, in those days, Olds was a medium-priced car, and Chevy, Ford, and Plymouth buyers could only dream about moving up. There really was an Olds class of customer. That was somebody who'd made it big and could afford more than his neighbor. But those days are gone forever. Professor, Olds has become so competitive that we can sell anybody who's going to buy a new car in any class. And we've got the Toronado, which nobody else can match. All we have to do is realize that we're right in there with Ford and Chevy, and get buyers to realize it too, and we'll have sales totals we never imagined possible. Here's the Ford LTD owner I mentioned. He actually considered himself in the Ford class, but he had paid about $3,800 for that Ford. Well, we just strolled over to the new Dynamic 88 and gave this gentleman the surprise of his life. When he started to compare size and features, He could hardly believe the price stickers were about even. The 88 is 7 inches longer, 500 pounds heavier, wider tread, more inside room than the car he paid $3,800 for. Only the price is close. But the clincher was the Oldsmobile power. You can imagine the reaction when this confused car owner hit the gas on the Super Rocket with 310 horsepower and way more torque than his Ford. Of course, this wasn't the only surprise during my survey. I got a surprise of my own when I finally realized why we have the Jetstar 88. Took me a year, but it finally hit me. This is the key to step-up sales. This Jetstar 88 is the open door to owning a big Oldsmobile. And I was amazed at how many of the Ford, Chevy, and Plymouth owners want to move into this 88 once they realize how easy it is. This is the power and price they're looking for, and plus benefits they never dreamed they could buy. Professor, you can bet I'm going to be showing a lot of people how easy it is in '66. For instance, I'm going to sell the Buick Skylark owner who discovered he had paid more for less horsepower, less trunk space, less car than the Cutlass. Then there's the poor character who bought a Plymouth Sports Fury because he thought he couldn't afford an Oldsmobile. It was the same old story. He spent more money and got less of what he wanted. Next time, he'll have the Oldsmobile facts from me. Well, Professor, you've got the story for 1966. You can bet on it. Prospects will be enthusiastic over the Oldsmobile line once they get the facts. And there'll be a lot of new owners, too, once they realize Olds is in their class.
Jerry, you've done a great job. And so has Oldsmobile. Thanks again for coming to my rescue.
Anytime, Professor.
I'll get the good word out right away.
Cars! Who needs them?
Before you buy a mid-size car, please know this. Oldsmobile Cutlass offers diesel V8 availability in all 10 models. Plus, Cutlass gives you one of the highest resale values of any mid-size car. Compare Cutlass. Compare style, price, ride. Compare everything you want in your next new car. Total Value has made Olds Cutlass America's #1 selling car.
This little reel of film right here is a 30-second commercial. It's half the reel. It's a 30-second commercial. Celluloid film strips. That's what you saw on tonight's show. These are the commercials I get. To make a 1 hour reel, this is 1 hour, heavy-duty guy, of just commercials. Very few people know the history of the commercials themselves and when they were out. 3,000 commercials from Channel 5 were thrown into the garbage can. Duncan Hines, 1964, Prestone, Pepsi commercials. Yes, folks, Pepsi commercials. And a lot of commercials. I don't know what any of this stuff is. We have a warehouse of close to 30,000 commercials now. These were the commercials. Each one was a 60 or a 30-second commercial sent to the local stations. They would then take the commercial from the ad agency or the company. The 30-second or commercial would be edited into a film print. And then the film print would be shown live on the air.
I always looked at myself as the Noah's Ark of collecting. I always wanted a little of everything. So what do you mean? You have newsreels? I'll take them. Cassette films? I'll take them. Early TV shows? I'll take them. Commercials. Half-hour commercials. Ooh, George Goebel shows. Juvenile Jury. The history of X-rays. Fats Waller. The Wild Bunch. Plumbing and Heating Division. Oh, man. My biggest problem is I own too much stuff, and it got out of hand. I used to be neat on a shelf. Oh, this blows. Now it's to the point where I can't even find some of the stuff I have. This just sucks.